Hey, what's up guys, it is Sykoo or Sam here and welcome back to the channel, and today I'm really excited to bring you guys a brand new episode of editor extension tutorial in Unity. And today we're going to specifically look at horizontal and vertical spaces, how we begin them, how we end them, where you can use them and why you should use them. So before we start off guys, I would like to thank you so much for all the support on my latest video, which was the asset review. I'm gonna link it in the description down below if you haven't watched it yet. I thought that it was an amazing video because the support was so overwhelming as well. And with that being said, if you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit the subscribe button to make sure that you stay up to tune for new episodes coming soon. And also drop a like if you're enjoying the video, and let us know in the comments if you have any questions regarding this. And with that being said, let's jump right into the video. So first and foremost, we obviously have a first episode of this series, which I am also going to link in the description down below. You'll also find a link to the entire series so that you can watch it. And in the first episode, go through it real quick, we basically just went through creating a few variables for how you get started and creating a few variables in both of these scripts. And we pretty much just have a editor script which we're editing for having a customer inspector. So that's pretty much it. And we have it open here. So no thank you, I'm not gonna recommend it, I'm sorry, with Microsoft. So this is the script, this is the player script, and it's being customly displayed throughout our editor script. And the regular script is the one that holds all the variables, and this one is open up here. So what we're gonna do now is we can actually remove these two lines to begin with, and then save the script, and then we'll go here and remove all these except for player target. Alright, we're gonna remove these. So now what we can do here, we can say Gui Layout dot label, this is a text, and then add a semicolon on that. And then when we save the script, we can go back to Unity and it will obviously be displayed here. There we go. So now obviously this isn't it's not the real design that you would like to use for a asset or something like that, and therefore you can use some begin horizontal spaces and begin vertical spaces and end them in a correct spot, so that you can actually create these spaces that are pretty much working as paragraphs, you could say. And by doing that, you can organize your text and all other fields a lot better. And therefore I'm gonna show you guys. So if we just delete this or remove this line, and then we say Gui Layout dot begin horizontal, boom, and then Gui Layout dot end horizontal, and above these we can just paste down the layout Gui Layout label that we just had. We can actually also do like this. We can copy this Gui Layout dot label and then paste it right underneath it as well, so that we have two different ones. There we go. Alright. And then we can just do like this. And we can even throw a comment being like without horizontal space. That's a misspell. Hold on. Horizontal. There we go. And then we can say another comment with horizontal space. Or we can even throw that in the text itself. So we can paste down the labels again, and this label I'm just gonna end it to change it to without horizontal or without space, and we can actually copy this. Holy damn, dude, I'm really designing this, I'm going all in, guys. I don't know about you guys, but I'm going all in about this. So we can say with space, I'm getting lazy now. And then here, literally the same, so with space. All right, so we can save the game or save the script, and we can go back to the engine itself. And now you'll realize that we have two down below each other, one being without space, and then the other one being with space and with space. And you can see that there is a difference, because one is vertically aligned, the other one is horizontally aligned. And that's literally the point of begin horizontal. You're creating a alignment horizontally. When you're creating it vertically, you're just creating a alignment vertically. And that's literally the simple way it works. So we can also say with vertical alignment, right? And we can say Gui Layout dot begin vertical, and then Gui Layout dot end vertical. And 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 ver Thank you. Alright, so we can just paste, oh, never mind. Gui Layout that label with vertical space. And we can literally just copy this. I challenge you to actually write it down. I'm just lazy for the sake of this tutorial, but I would suggest you strongly to write it down again so that you remember the code as well. When you save the script, you can go back to Unity and you will see a little difference. So you can see that these are very like each other, like they are very similar with vertical space and non-space. The horizontal space is obviously a little bit more different, and you might think, well, what's the actual difference between vertical space and non-space, because it literally looks the same. I'm gonna tell you guys. So if you're creating a alignment by using vertical alignment or beginning a vertical space, you're gonna be able to have a lot better alignment inside of your content. So let's say you're creating an asset and you want to be able to draw like a rectangle behind these elements, then you might want to use a begin vertical alignment so that you can make sure that everything is drawn correctly behind your objects. We can just literally write box like that. And this is going to draw a box behind the elements, and I'll show you this in Unity so that we have a better explanation. And there you go, like this is a rectangle, and you can show, like, you can, by using a little bit more advanced code, you can actually edit the colors, you can edit the spaces or like the margin for between these elements inside of this begin vertical alignment, and you get a lot more options to do it by this way instead of just this. So by not using any alignments, you can just create some simple text. You can also display some elements, but it's not really recommended because it's not going to look so good when you're actually creating a asset or something similar. And by using begin vertical, you're also, or begin vertical and unvertical, you're going to be able to have a better practice for your code, and it's going to look a lot better organized, just like your elements. So it's a win-win situation, to be honest. What we can actually do here, we can go to, I want to have a practice for this, so we can go to the player script and we can just say public, let's say, we can actually say float margin, alright? Or perhaps we can call it space. And we can remove these lines in the editor script, and then we can say Gui Layout.begin horizontal, Gui Layout.end horizontal. So now we have created a horizontal space or a horizontal alignment, which is somewhere that we're going to show or display some of our elements. And we're going to be able to, by using this horizontal alignment, we're going to show a text that says space, colon, and then we're going to have a element for editing this space, which is the float here. Which is amazing because you guys are getting a little bit better example of how we can also use float sliders. So we're not going to get really deep onto that yet, but it's going to come in a future episode, so there are no worries about that. But inside of our GUI layout begin horizontal space, we're going to actually write GUI layout.label space, yeah, just space, there we go. We can have a space there. And then we're gonna now say player script dot space is equal to editor GUI layout dot float slider, or perhaps just slider, right? Yeah. And then we can say player script dot space. Then we have like a limit for this slider, so we can say 0 to 100. All right, or perhaps 0 to 110. Yeah, that's better. So what we're saying here is we're calling upon the player target script that we have already created in here, which is from the first episode, and we're saying we're going to use a variable space from it, which is literally just this variable, which is an empty float. And we're saying it's going to be equal to a editor GUI layout slider. So we're creating a slider for the player, or not for the player, but for the editor, or for the designer, developer, whatever, to be able to edit this little float value that we have quite easily from our inspector. And inside the parentheses, we're just saying, all right, we're going to be able to edit this variable, right? So we're just repeating it one more time. And then we set the limit, the minimum value that that the developer can choose from, and then the maximum value that the player or the developer can choose from. It's so difficult to say the developer instead of actually just saying the player. But yeah, that's pretty much how it works. So we can go back to Unity and we can see how this works. And you can see that now we have a little bit of beautiful code here. You can edit the space, as we said. You can edit it to up to 10. And obviously, if you edit these values, this is going to change. So this is how you use a begin horizontal space. And if we did not have a horizontal space, we can actually remove these to begin horizontal and end horizontal. And then we can go back to Unity after saving the script. And you'll see that they are not aligned anymore. And that's the problem. Obviously, you want to be able to have a little bit more organized for the developer you're creating this little asset for. Maybe it's you, right? You're creating this for yourself, and you want to be able to edit your variables and your values quite easily. And this is a perfect example of how to do it. What we can also do is you realize that there's not quite a bit of space between player script and literally the starter space. So what we can do is we can use a Gui Layout begin vertical and then have the begin horizontal space inside of it. I know it sounds a little bit crazy, but it works. And what we just do is before we start the begin horizontal, we just say Gui Layout.begin vertical. All right. And right after end horizontal, we just say Gui Layout.end horizontal. And beginning and ending the horizontal end vertical. There we go. And beginning and ending vertical or horizontal spaces are very simple. Where you begin a begin vertical space, you're just saying, all right, we're beginning right here, like before the begin horizontal and end horizontal is going to be displayed. And we're ending the vertical space right here so that it only covers this part, right? So whatever is in between. It's literally that simple. And we can actually do this a little bit more beautiful. We can say box, like we did before. And now we can say like this. We can jump a couple of lines right after begin vertical and say Gui Layout.space 50. And this is going to create a space between whatever is here and whatever comes after. Since it's quite empty here, except for the begin vertical space, it's just going to create a space between literally nothing and this, which nothing stands for the beginning. So we can go back to Unity and you'll see this in a better example. As you can see, it's a little bit better now. And you can actually do this even better. And that's why I'm saying that is because we can see that the player script here, and then, you know, the rectangle begins and then boom, we just jump right down. It looks a little bit ugly. So you can just cut this, go back a few lines, and then paste it right above Gui Layout begin vertical. Now we can go back to Unity, and you'll see that the entire rectangle is being moved down. So now this is a little bit too much for my taste. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna go back here, change this to perhaps 10, and we can now say right above the Gui Layout space, we can say Gui Layout.label. You can edit your values here. All right. Let me see something here. Editor styles, the bold label. Yes, it's working. I remember the correct one. So what this is going to do is, right after the text, you're just telling Unity that this is going to be a bold text. So, wow, I'm actually quite like getting into quite some things right here. We're getting into some things. I mean, I'm satisfied with this video so far. And we can jump above Gui Layout.label that we just created and say Gui Layout.space 5. And this means that we're just creating a very mini space between the label and the start of this script itself. So we can go here and you can see that it's working perfectly fine. Perhaps I can even remove this space. Boom. And then maybe make this 10 instead so that we have the text right above the rectangle. Like that. It looks better. And it's also bolded out, so it looks a lot better in my opinion. Now, I also want to show you guys one more thing. Let's say we're creating a new begin horizontal space. right below here, and we can literally just copy and paste, and we can say this one is space 2 just for the sake of it. We can go back to Unity and you'll see that the rectangle is extending itself because we have it inside of one and only begin vertical and end vertical, or like vertical alignment basically. What we can do here is we can cut this part, boom, and we can jump down a little bit, Gui Layout the begin vertical box. We're beginning a new vertical alignment, Gui Layout dot end vertical, and then paste the script that we just copied, or even cut for that matter. Oh, there we go, nice. So we can go to Unity, and you'll see that it's now cutting in between and it's not anymore extending itself. And this looks even better if you have like a main vertical space. So by that I mean, like if we literally jump down below the label that we created and say Gui Layout dot begin vertical space, or space box, there we go, and then we end it right below the last end vertical, so Gui Layout dot end vertical, and we go back to Unity. You'll see that now we have quite a few rectangles, but it looks so much more professional rather than just having it simple, because it's all about the design when you're creating a custom inspector, right? You don't want it to look ugly. So this is a very good example of how you can actually design your inspectors and how you can make sure that they look appealing to your customers, your asset purchasers, or even yourself, right? If you're just using this for editing your values quite simply, even for your team, for a huge game, I don't know, if you're creating a huge game. So this is very usable for pretty much anybody, really. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I guess we're gonna end this video here because I don't want to get very deep into this. There are obviously going to be a lot more episodes for this series, so if you have any suggestions, if you want me to cover up something specific, let me know in the comments. And with that being said, guys, I hope you all enjoyed your time, and thank you so much for being here and watching the video. Let us know in the comments what you think of the video, and if you have any feedback, suggestions, or recommendations on what you would like me to cover up in the next episode of this series or the future episodes. And if you're new to the channel, I make quite a bit of level designs, speed level designs, tutorial videos on Unity, UE4, and I also make some commentary videos here and there to make sure that we discuss openly with the community, and you obviously are a part of the community. And with that being said, let us know in the comments if you have any questions regarding the code, regarding your game, or something similar, because once again, we're a huge community now that's helping each other. So we're helping each other to grow, and I'm not just solo on the channel. When you ask me, I run off of the community's strength. So let us know in the comments if you have anything to add on to this. And with that being said, drop a like if you enjoyed the video, and subscribe once again if you don't want to miss out on any new videos, and I will catch you in the comments. See you guys, peace out, bye bye.